All right, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? This is Darian Jones of Honor Kings and Sons TV podcast. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is a beautiful day that we are experiencing today. And I want to let you guys know that you can find me on YouTube if you are a newcomer. I have two YouTube channels that you guys can follow. The first one is at DJonesHKS. This YouTube channel I designed. I love to see people, having a great day and enjoying themselves. So that's why I put a lot of funny content, my video reactions, my skits, memes, video shorts, all different things for you guys to enjoy. And then my second YouTube channel is Honor Kings and Sons TV, and there's where you see my audio podcast clips, my in-person podcast clips. That's where I put a lot of my content from Instagram as well, and different things like that. So I want you guys to be able to go and check out those two YouTube channels. Also, you can follow me on multiple social media platforms. If you type in at Honor Kings and Sons, you can find me on LinkedIn, TikTok, Threads. You can also find me on Facebook and, of course, Instagram when you type in at Honor Kings and Sons. Please join my Discord. The link is in the description to all my YouTube videos. My Discord is where I want to be able to connect with different people from all over the world to talk about these different issues that I cover on Honor Kings and Sons TV podcast. I love to expound on different subjects. I'm just that type of individual. Sometimes, if you're listening to a message, a speech, a dissertation, whatever it is that you're listening to, you want to be able to expound on certain components. So I feel like the Discord is the perfect place to do that. So definitely I would love for you guys to join me there. So without further ado, I'm so excited to talk about greatness today. Honor Kings and Sons is a platform where I help people build their kingdoms, their God-given destiny and purpose, how to help them do so. A lot of people in this world, they grow up without a mother or father, or they grow up with a mother and father, but life deals them a set of cards and it's hard to navigate. We have some people who experience great success. We have some people who experience failure. We have some people who, they've always, known shelter and comfort. Some people have not. They've experienced things like homelessness, houselessness. They've experienced rejection and feeling lonely. And so it's difficult for them to be able to, find a sense of hope in this world. And so that's where Honor Kings and Sons TV comes in, is I am one of those people that I had things in my life, but when those things were taken away from me, I did not have a full scope of how to go about fulfilling my purpose and destiny. And so, God has been very gracious to me, and He has allowed me to get a revelation of how to do it for my life and how to help others do it for their life. So that's what Honor Kings and Sons TV podcast is all about. I want to help you get to your destiny, help you fulfill your purpose by helping you understand how to attain the God-given inheritance that is yours, to be fruitful, to be multiplied, to be the greatest person you can be first, and then to be great onto others. So I want to talk about greatness today, right? How to be great. What does it take to be great? Well, the first thing when it comes to greatness, you have to definitely be aware of the fact that you are very small. You are very small in this great big world. Whether you're a person that is religious or not, you have to accept one fact, that you are very, very small in this giant makeup of atoms, molecules, gases, elements, just full of everything that is in existence, right? It would be hard for me to not use the word creation, right? But as a person, this is my faith-based platform. I'm faith-based. It's just difficult for me to not mention that word. But in this world of creation, it's just hard to, not understand that you are a person, that you are part of God's great makeup, And he desires for us all to be able to know what it feels like and to be a person of greatness. And it takes a lot. It's not easy, but you have to know that you're small. You have to know that you're small. You are an individual, that you play a part in everything, but you are not everything. So the world does not revolve around you. As they like to say, the buck does not stop with you per se. You are a part of everything that is going on, right? And you cannot walk around with pride. You cannot walk around with envy. You cannot walk around with different lusts in your heart when you want to be great. Because if you do, you're going to be torn down so fast. As a matter of fact, with those things, can you have a moment of greatness? Can you be among the greats? Yes, it's very possible. There are a lot of people who are successful and great that have walked this planet, but they had those things in their heart. But we're talking about with yourself first, right? So, how do you be great? What does it take to be great when it comes to you, the individual, right? You have to just know where you are. You have to be aware of your surroundings, right? You have to know who are who are the people that are great already. So remember, before you come into the knowledge of yourself, there are people who have already done so. So you need to be aware of those people because you already know the people who are not great, right? Because you are amongst them. Not to say that the people that you hang around every single day, you go to school, you go to work, you go to church, you see at the park, you play ball with, and things like that. Not to say that those people are not great, but they have not tapped into their greatness. They are not aware. They don't know and understand the full length of their value, their impact. They don't understand that there is a God given destiny and purpose, that they have a sole responsibility of acknowledging, confronting, and fulfilling. So therefore, it puts them in the category where at this moment in time, they are not great. So now we have to go into the next thing to look at. So, like I said, first thing is you have to know that you are small, right? The next thing you need to know who is great in the world, right? Because now you have a scope, you have a distance. And here's the crazy thing about it. Once you find out how small you are, and then once you find out who is great amongst you or who is great in the world, that doesn't necessarily mean that the distance between the two is the distance you have to go to experience your greatness. You know, when I look in the Bible talks about, this measure of faith, right? And the more I grow in my faith, I know there are things that people can argue, and, that's another conversation for another day. But there are some things that are so universal that the Bible talks about, and I think that we all apply them and that we all can agree, and that's the measure of faith, right? The faith that you need to live this life. I'm sorry, but if you live this life and you claim that you don't need faith, you are the most unrealistic human being on planet Earth. Number one, by definition, we are all religious because religion in its base means practice. So if you get up every single morning, whatever routine that you have, I don't care if you're atheist, agnostic, Satanist, whatever you want to call yourself, guess what? You are religious because you have a series of practices that you do, and you do them in faith that they're going to produce a result. So let's just get that out of the way. So yeah, we have to understand that all of us operate from a measure of faith, right? Some people their measure of faith, takes them to status like never seen before. Some people their measure of faith takes them to a place where they achieve and reach success. But if it was to be compared, it simply just wouldn't be on the level of somebody else. And we have to be very careful when we're talking about what it takes to be great, because comparison, the word within itself, has to be used very delicately. We have to tread very softly when we use the word compare when it talks about what it takes to be great, because there are common principles, there are commonalities that every individual who is great shares. The characteristics are all the same, right? It doesn't matter if you're going to be doing something good or you're going to be doing something bad. They all require the same characteristics, and we all know them, whether we are applying them or not. Like number one, discipline, right? Fearlessness. When it comes to social interaction, good hygiene. When it comes to communication, things as basic as your diction. When it comes to finances, financial literacy. When it comes to in the creative process, making sure that you have a skill set, right? You've practiced, you've done what they call the 100,000 hours. For those of you who've never heard that, that's a thing, especially amongst the arts. They always talk about, have you done your 100,000 hours of practice, right? I heard an influencer. Actually, he's a keynote speaker, and he's a big entrepreneur. I can't think of his name right now, but he said according to research, anybody who studies something for 30 minutes and practices it for 30 minutes, he says you will be I think he said you will be 100 times better than 20% of the world at that one thing, simply because you take 30 minutes out of your day to practice it. And in certain professions, you only need a registered 10,000 hours to be considered a master of a skill, right? So a lot of people don't know about these basic, commonalities, characteristics, skill sets, rules when it comes to being great. So this is just the stuff that once you start to be among great people and interview them, they all say the same thing. The mindset that you need, the skill set that you need, the willpower that you need, the faith that you need. It's all the same thing that is shared. So the first thing we have to understand is that to be great, you have to know how small you are. You have to know the role that you play in this world, right? The next thing is you need to know who are the greats among you, or who are the greats in the world, right? The third thing that you're going to need to know, and what it takes to be great, how long it's going to take and what impact it's going to make. Now, you might say to yourself, how am I going to know how long it's going to take? Well, there is a way that you can know how long it's going to take you to become great. This is how you know. The amount of time that you spend on things that are not helping you become great, you know those things. I don't need to know them. The amount of time that you spend crying, the amount of time you spend complaining, the amount of time you spend operating in fear, all of that is actually time stolen from you getting closer to greatness. So to be honest with you, you know how long it's going to take, but you refuse to acknowledge that you're the one that's stealing the time away from you. The next thing is the impact, right? Now, we know from people who used to be among us and are no longer alive, we know how impactful their life was and how great we consider them to this day, right? So there is a way that you can measure the impact that they had of the day. How many publications were written? How many mentions on the radio? Pictures, dramatizations, recastings, remakes, reimaginings of their works, of what they left. If there's any, rewards, credentials, accolades, are there any centers, schools, are there any statues? Are there any places where their name has been put in that they'll be remembered forever and ever? If you have those type of things, right, while you're alive, like for people, let's say an actor, right, they get their star fame in Hollywood. So that allows you to understand that their impact was so great that they have a star, right, with their name in it. So this is how you measure that stuff for while you're alive, right? But obviously when you, the individual, dies, you don't know the other measurement, which is the impact that you left and the impression, because the impression that you leave on people is never shared until the spotlight is taken off of you. And that's an interesting component we never pay attention to. The spotlight cannot be on you in order for you to know how great you were to the world. The spotlight has to come off of you. And in a way, it has to be put on the people. This is kind of, I wouldn't even call it a mystery in terms of perception, but it's one of those things that people really don't think about, right? You have to actually give an opportunity for others to speak in order for you to know how great you are. So if you're a person that you're always, blabbering about what you do, you're stealing the true praise. Because even if you're a faith-based person, in my Bible that I read, it says that you shall be praised, you shall be exalted, meaning that there will be a season where men will speak highly of you. But if you are a person that is prideful, you actually are stealing that moment away from you. And I'm not going to say that God still won't allow you to have that moment where people praise you, but I will say that it won't have the effect that it should have had you kept your mouth quiet and let the praise come out beforehand, right? So let's recap on what it takes to be great. You have to know how small you are in this world, number one. Number two, you need to know who is great among you and who are the greats in the world. All right. Number three, you need to understand how long it's going to take and what impact it's going to make. And then you have to decide how long are you going to delay yourself in the process and how much talking you're going to do. Because if you do so, what's going to happen is you're going to rob yourself of the time to enjoy what you've done. And the praise that man has stored up to give you, it won't have the impact on you that it should have. This is Darian Jones, the Honor Kings and Sons TV podcast. It's almost like a moment or food for thought that I wanted to share with you guys. I would love to expound on this conversation. Please make sure that you join the Discord and like and subscribe my YouTube channels. I have 2 YouTube channels. Remember, at DJonesHKS and at Honor Kings and Sons TV. YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. If you type in at Honor Kings and Sons, you can find me. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my podcast. I'm trying to get 500 subscribers on YouTube, so we'd love you guys to share the podcast, let people know that you're tuning in, and you guys have a wonderful day. God bless you, and until next time, be easy.